Hello, everyone. Welcome to, if you can believe it, week 5. It's week 5 of our 12 weeks of Christmas, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Um, but today I have a super awesome card to share with you. At least I think it's pretty amazing. It's a diamond fold card and something that I just learned to make actually. But this one is super elegant, and I think that you guys are going to love it as well. So, super excited to share it with you today. It doesn't actually need that many supplies, and this is what it looks like. Let me take out I got all my supplies here, my little envelope. Um, it just looks like this. Like it's super just elegant. But this paper is honestly making the card. And then it just opens like this. See, you got your diamond on the front. Yeah, like you could also call it like a diamond swing card, I think. But super, super beautiful. And I love the gold. This year, there's gold everywhere for the holiday season. So in Christmas decor, home decor, everywhere is gold. Even in clothes and stuff, you're seeing it. So beautiful on purses, etc. Anyways, this paper here that you see kind of on the front and on the inside, this is called the Season of Elegance designer or specialty designer paper. Let me just, is it designer series paper or just specialty? Yeah, specialty designer series paper. And it comes in red, green, and then just this is basic beige with gold. And then on the back is the same colors, but without all of the gold foiling. So the back is, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of like, I'm going to move these down a little bit. Oh, no, that is the front. Hold on, let me show you the back. I know I'm making some noise here today, but that's okay. So the backs of these are just not quite as gold foiled as the front. So these are the fronts, and these pieces are cut up, obviously. And then the back is just like kind of tone on tone, real red. This is real red. And then this one here is green. This is old olive, I believe. I'm just going to double check before I'm like, oh, hold on. This is cherry cobbler, but I know there's some real red in here. And this is mossy meadow and old olive. And then actually there's one more color in here that I forgot about. Gold and basic beige, because I haven't used it yet. I've been like hoarding it because it's so pretty. Hold on. And this is pretty peacock. Look at that. I love this color. I love pretty peacock, but the blue with the gold, yeah, really stunning. And so and that's the front. And then on the back, you've kind of got this sort of variegated, kind of washed, dripping paint look on this page. I think they're all like a little bit just different. None of them are the same. Like if you look at the backs, they've all got a slightly different pattern on them. But they're really, really pretty. And they really take your card from like basic to wowzers. At least that's my opinion. I love it. And I'm pretty excited about this one. So let me show you how we make it. We are going to base this on that basic beige so that we don't take away from the beautiful gold foiled paper. And I'm actually using Very Vanilla, which is not something that I do a lot. I typically am a basic white girl. I don't pull out the vanilla a lot, but the white really kind of took away from the elegance of this card. So we're using Very Vanilla. Okay, let's get started. Okay. All right. So for this card, you need a piece of cardstock, whatever color you choose. Like I said, I'm using basic beige tonight. And it measures 11 by 4.25. And then we're going to just fold that. Actually, we're not going to fold that in half. You know what? I wish I had my instructions. I actually made a project sheet for you guys. Yeah, I know, right? Actually, yeah, we do fold it in half. I'm just trying to remember here. We fold it in half, so I'm going to try to fly with it. But I'm going to put the link to the project sheet in the description after the video. I forgot to put that in there before I get started. So once I'm done here with the live today, then we will go ahead and I will go and post the link to the project sheet. So the project sheet has all the measurements and stuff for the card. So if you don't have time to write it down or you just don't write it down, you can go and print that off. So then this front piece is actually going to, we're going to fold it in half again backwards. You know what? I want to just double check that because I don't actually think that's factual information. So 3 1/4. Okay, I'm going to just mark this with a pencil. And again, okay. Okay, so at 3 1/4 here. So I've marked it just with a pencil, and I'm going to just fold it along that line. And it doesn't matter if it's exactly right, and you'll see why. Okay, so it's 3 1/4 from the edge is what this sort of back fold is. And the measurements are again, in the project sheet. So I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. If you're scoring it, you're going to score it at the 5 1/2, and you're going to score it again at 8. Well, this says 8 7/8, but I'm wondering if it's supposed to be 8 3/4. It's supposed to be 8 3/4, but that's okay. We're going to just go like that. So off the end of this shorter piece here, we are going to actually cut off 1/8 of an inch. And I think because I kind of folded it at a little bit of a different measurement, I probably don't need to do this, but that's okay. We're going to cut off 1/8 of an inch. So you could do this ahead of time if you wanted to, but I just found that that was easier. So we've cut off this, and what that is going to do is when we add our diamond, it's just going to line up a little bit nicer with the edge instead of kind of going over. It just kind of lines up the designer series paper and the edge a little bit better. Okay, and when you score this with your scoring tool, and don't do what I did, you're gonna have a nicer fold. But we're covering this up, so don't worry about that too much. Okay, on this piece again, where the short fold is, we need to mark this at halfway. So I'm gonna actually just put a little cut in this, and half of 4 1/4 is 2 1/8. So we're gonna line that up like that, and I'm just gonna put a tiny little cut in the end, just so I can see where my midpoint is, just like that. Okay, now from our midpoint, we're going to cut from our midpoint up to this first fold. You can use, like if you used a ruler to mark it out, you could just cut it. What I do is I put my cut mark right here onto the fold, and then I move down a little bit here. Hold on. And then I put my fold line kind of here at the other end, right? And then we're going to cut. Okay, so we're going to end up cutting off this corner. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so we are going to again put our midpoint here. We're going to line up our fold, and we're going to trim that off just like that. Okay, so now what you end up with is this kind of triangled end. We don't need this anymore, so let's go ahead and put that away. And this is going to make our triangle or our diamond fold. Okay, so easy, as long as you get your scores in the right place and you remember what they are. So 5 1/2 and 8 3/4, you score your piece of cardstock. Then you're going to cut your diamond fold here. Okay, we have all of that done. Let's pull out our pieces and put our card together. All right. Okay, so we have a piece of, this is our diamond piece, and let's make that first. So this is the part that's going to go on the front. And the way that this goes is super, super simple. You line up this edge with this edge. So this is going to go like this, just like so, creating your diamond, okay? So these points should line up kind of with your fold, and then this will line up towards the edge of your card, okay? Just like that. So just to make sure that I only get adhesive where I want it, I'm going to just put my glue on this part here. Okay, so we're not going to put it onto, okay. We're not going to get it anywhere else. We're going to line this up like that. Okay, so that our points are kind of at the fold, just like so. Okay, now because I've used the liquid adhesive, I'm just going to make sure that this has a nice dry before we start moving it around. And then it just goes like that. That's it. We've got our mechanism done on our card, and we are ready to decorate. Okay, so this piece here is going to go inside for writing, and it's going to just kind of line up right here along the fold. The way that I kind of look at my cards is I measure them out, not measure them. I put them, find out what the midpoint is like. So the top and the bottom, the borders are the same. And then I kind of just make the side border the same. Then you know that it's going to be in the right spot. Okay, does that make sense? So you have the same border all the way around. On this side, you could use just the plain red, or you could use the gold. Obviously, I might use the gold, but if it's a little much for you, or you're just going for a different kind of card, then you've got options. Okay, this one is really gold too. It's kind of different parts of the paper have different amounts of gold, and this little part here actually has a ton of gold on it. It's super pretty. Okay. And there's our red. Now on this side, let me set this aside. We have 2 equal pieces of the gold with the basic beige. One of them goes over here, and one of them goes on the front. So let me just see which one I want on the front. Does one of them have more gold and one has less? Do I want this one, or do I want this one? I think I want this one on the front. Okay, so let's take this one with more gold on it. Isn't this easy? Like, you look at cards sometimes and you think that it's going to be kind of tricky to do, but honestly, especially when you have someone just to show you and you're like, well, that's not so hard. I can do that. This is a super easy fun fold, we call them, because they're just a little bit different than your normal card. And so they give that wow factor when you make them and you give them out to your friends and your family, because they don't know how to do it and they think it's complicated, but you know the secret. It's not. You can do this. Okay, so we have got that completed. Okay, let's design the front of our card. Again, I'm going to use the very vanilla. What is this piece here I got? Oh, gold. Actually, that's why I had the gold. I was trying to decide if I wanted to do this a little bit different and put the gold underneath of there, or if it was too much. What do you think? Should we add another layer in there, or should we just stick with the original no gold layer, or should we add the gold? You know what? Let's just add the gold just to see what it looks like. Okay, I had some other options too. We could, you could have a black layer in there, but I'm going to use that for my label, so I think we'll just leave that off. Or you could have a cherry cobbler layer in there too. I don't know. What do you think? Should we just leave the vanilla, or should we go ahead and add in the gold, or just add in the cherry cobbler? There's so many things you can do. Let's just do this one a little different. Let's add in the gold, and we will see what this one looks like. We're just going rogue here on camera. That's always like a dangerous thing to do, but it'll be okay. We're in a safe place, right? Okay, so I've got to trim down my vanilla piece. So this was 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And I'm going to measure it just down another quarter, or do I want it that big? I think I won't make the gold layer quite so big. I'm going to make this 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. Just a slightly smaller triangle. And then we're just going to have a small gold border. I think that will be better. Yeah, I like that. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and add our vanilla layer on there. Now, a note, when you're using some of the foiled paper, it doesn't dry quite as fast with the adhesive just because it's so smooth. So you got to just kind of give it a second to do its thing. So while that's doing its thing, let's go ahead and make this label. We're going to do a little bit of embossing today and some die cutting. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut out our label. So this is the Christmas label dies, and this is the Christmas label stamp set. So you have all these different Christmas greetings, and they all kind of line up with these different labels. So there's 4 different labels. And this one in the corner we're going to use, it just has some paper stuck in it, is why it's black. So there's this one that has sort of kind of the swirly edge, which we're going to use today. And you can see that it just kind of lines up like that. And then there's a straight one with sort of a double, what do you call that? Beveled edge. There's a more decorative one here with kind of the scalloped edges, and then this one is all sort of swirly. This one we're going to use if you're coming to my Friday Christmas card class. You'll get to use these in person and you're going to love them. They're absolutely fabulous. Okay, so I am going to cut this out with my die cutting machine, with my, I don't even remember what this is called. My, whatever, with my die cutting machine. And I'm not sure how much of this you can see, but I'm going to put this on here. And if you want it to stay a little bit better, you're worried, you just grab a piece of masking tape or washi tape. This is washi tape. I like to make sure that I kind of like give it a few sticks on my skin, which you might not be able to see, just like that, so that it really is not very sticky at all. Because otherwise, sometimes it has a tendency to kind of tear your paper because it's so much pressure between these plates, right? Okay, we're going to put on the plate, line these up a little bit, run it through the machine. You might get a little bit of a jiggle here. There we go. Trying to go slow so I don't jiggle you. And those noises are normal, so don't fret if you hear them. If you're ever using your machine, though, and it's not wanting to go through, just take a stop and make sure that you've got your plates on correctly. It's really easy to just, I don't know, add an extra plate or not have the right plate, especially if you're going to do some embossing and stuff. Okay, so we've die cut. This one has a few sort of intricate pieces. I like to use my take a pick tool. It has a lot of different ends on it. And once you kind of get it going, it'll usually just kind of pop out. There's also a brush that I do have, but where you can just kind of brush these and they'll pop out. I should have ran this through twice, I think. Okay, well, let's do our best here. Okay. There we go. I was trying to pull out the wrong piece. There you go. Sometimes with these decorative ones, I'll like go back on itself. So I'll roll it through and then I'll roll it backwards again, just so that it has a really crisp cut and I don't have to sort of poke at it. It just kind of comes out. Then you can literally go like this with your fingers and the pieces are going to kind of fly out. So today, that is not the case. It is being a little stubborn. But for the first time, my cats are not here trying to steal the show. So, you know, there's that. If you'd like to know an update on Simba, he's still limping. He is my orange cat who is constantly getting himself into predicaments. And if you weren't here last week, he got his foot shut in the door. And so he was, not a happy camper for quite some time. And he's still really kind of struggling a little bit. He's I think he thinks he's doing better than he is. And then he'll jump up on something. And yesterday it was yesterday. Yesterday morning, he tried to jump up on the desk and he missed because, you know, it's Simba and that's what Simba does. So he jumped up on the desk, but he missed. And when he fell, he landed back on his sore foot. Like, what a dummy. So anyway, so then he kind of went and did his hiding thing again. And came out like he's been doing a lot of sleeping. So it makes me think that he's probably in a little bit of pain. And so I feel for him. And I wish there was something I could do. But he's one of a kind, that cat. Okay, this is honestly not usually this difficult. I have never had to do this a single time since I started using this die. So, of course, it's because I'm on video. But honestly, if you want to avoid all of this, I really would just recommend when you're using these detailed dies is just to go back and like go through once and then go back before you pull your plate off of your die cutting machine. Okay. We've got all the little crumbs picked up off of there. Now we're going to do some heat embossing. So give me 1 second here. This is our label. So this is really pretty. The other thing that you can do is if you just kind of cut here along this bottom line and you cut out two and then put a white piece in the middle or vice versa, whatever color with a white, it really makes it stand out. But since we're embossing, we don't need all that. Okay, this is our embossing buddy. This makes a huge difference on static with your piece so that you're not getting extra embossing powder where you don't want it. Okay, I got a piece of paper out today so that I would have one available for embossing tonight, but I don't know where it went. All right. we are going to stamp this in Versamark. And we are going to use a Christmas label stamp set. The one, let's see, which one did I use? Hope your season is filled with magic. Okay, so that's this one over here. So we're going to use that one. And I got to get a block. So I like to lay my stamps out on my page. It just, one, lets them relax. And especially if they're like a longer stamp, they're going to naturally just kind of go in the right, like straight. If you try to like press them on, sometimes these photopolymer stamps, they warp a little bit and they don't stay in their true form. So, okay, we're going to stamp that on there just like so, and then pull it straight up. And I'm going to use gold embossing powder today on this one. And before I get out my embossing powder, let's make sure we close our ink so that we don't get it everywhere. I'm going to grab another piece of paper. Okay. I'll take a piece of just scrap paper, copy paper, fold it in half, and this is going to be my tray. Okay. Dump your gold embossing powder. Don't worry about how much you put on. I like to make sure I've got lots. And look how nicely that was because we used the embossing putty. We don't have any extra. And I think it's actually covered really nicely. So let's go ahead and clean that up. I just poured that back into my container just like that. Super easy. Okay, now give me 1 second. I'm going to go out of the camera. Here, look at something pretty. There you go. Look at our card. I'm going to just heat emboss this. It might get noisy for a second. 1 moment. All right. So when you heat emboss, you're basically just kind of melting the little particles and then they get that metallic sheen. I think that everything embossed, especially at the holiday seasons, is just gorgeous. I love to emboss my sentiments especially. But there's so many different ways that you can use it, so many different techniques. So coming to my classes is a place where you're going to, one, get to experience some of the heat embossing and different techniques and learn ways to kind of put your cards together in creative ways. So I encourage you to just check out my Facebook page here. I usually always have my events listed, as well as you can find it on my Stampin' Up! Calendar. So, okay, I'm going to put this on with with dimensionals. And so these are just foam adhesive dots. Okay, this one has a double. Let's just get rid of that one. Somehow I got stuck paper on the other side. Okay, I just want to make sure that I can't see any of these through these holes. So I'm going to just kind of put them randomly like that. There's no really right or wrong way to do that. And then we're going to stick our sentiment on a little bit to the right. And the reason I'm putting it a little bit to the right is we're going to actually add another piece here, a little decorative item. So I am using, this is called the Joyful Images Ephemera Pack, and it comes with 2 sheets of each, and I punched out a whole bunch of these, so I'll just kind of get these out of the way and we'll take a peek at them. But it has 2 different sheets of each of these designs. So as you can see, this one had, okay, come on. Anyways, this one had a stocking, and it has these little candies in here and a sled. And some of them, as you can see, are gold foiled. So there's a lot of gold foils, little stars, bows. I have dug into this pack quite a bit, so there's quite a few missing. Different wreaths, trees, etc., snowflakes. Am I even, yeah, I'm in the camera. I'm good. Skates. Then there's some bigger pieces like this little cabin. Hot chocolate, some gifts, teddy bears, Christmas trees, all sorts of different things. So I think this is fantastic for a few things. One, if you're trying to make something quickly, and you don't have to really think about coloring or pulling out your stamps and all the different things, this works fabulous. If you're crafting with young ones, also fabulous. It gives them so many different options to be able to put onto their cards or projects. Or if you're a beginner stamper, if you are just starting your collection, this is also fabulous because you don't have to have all the inks or stamps or whatever. Have a really nice sentiment stamp set. And then from there, you can create all sorts of things using some of these extra pieces. Okay, so this one of the options was these bells, but I kind of like a little bit more red to balance that out. So we could put a stocking here. The first card I made had a poinsettia, and we could do that again. But, I mean, maybe we want to do something else that's fun. So we could put a stocking on here. Or I don't think a mug really kind of does it for me. We could put, I really actually like these skates, but I'm not sure. Then I should have used the peacock on here if I was going to do that. So what about, I did see on here, oh, but then there's no red again. There was these ones. What about these little cookie guys? It has red and it has the gold foil on there. And we can put the little cookies on. But then they got to go sideways, and that looks silly. Okay, you know what? Let's just stick with the poinsettia. But there's a lot of choices on here that you could use. How about a bell? Yeah, this is how I craft. I am, like, easily distracted. A gold bell and a bow. How about a bow? A red bow. I'm, like, pulling out two at a time here. Okay, a red bow and a bell. Well, that doesn't work because the bow gets covered up. Anyways, as you can see, there's a lot of different options and things. Actually, I know which bow I had. I had this green and red bow out that you could put over top like that. Maybe we could do that. Why don't we do that? That's something different. Okay, let's use this little bow. I'm going to glue this directly onto here just to add a little bit of a larger and more decorative kind of piece onto our bell. There we go, without taking away from the gold. And I've got a dimensional on the back of that, and I'm going to just stick it like that. So it's a little bit smaller than our poinsettia. See, this is a little slick, so that's got to dry for a minute. Well, there we go. So now we have a couple of different choices. We have the one with the bell, and we have the one with the poinsettia. But inside is, on this one, I also added a couple of little stickers in there. So, or not stickers, I guess, ephemera. So we could do the same on here. We could put one of these bows or these cookies inside. Those are a little bit too big, though. How about the bells? Should we add the bells in here? That's kind of pretty, huh? No, I don't like that. We also have just this plain strip of paper that's in there, which we could do that. Yeah, that's kind of pretty. Hey, a little bit of red with the bells on there. And then you could write down here. Okay, I like that. Let's do that. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of glue. So you can, the same as you stamp inside your card sometimes, just add a little bit of, a little something, something. You can do the same here, obviously, with your ephemera. But sometimes we don't think about the inside of our card. And also, sometimes we don't want to have as much room to write. Sometimes it depends who we're giving our card to. Sometimes less space is better. There we go. We're going to do it like that. Or should I move that over? We're going to go like that. There we go. I just got to make sure it's not over the crease there so that it's going to fold. You could also stamp in some type of sentiment in there if you didn't want to have all that extra space for writing as well. All right, so there is one of our cards. And here is our other card that I made previously with, it just has some gold stars in there. But now you'll know how to make a diamond fold card. And I think that this paper is the perfect paper for this technique and for this kind of card. It just is so elegant and so beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will make one. And if you do, please share it in the comments with us. We all love to see what each other is making. So please do take the time to make a card, share a card. And again, I'm going to put the link in the description right after this video of the project sheet. So you can go and download that and print it out and have all of the measurements and sizes for the different pieces here as well. So anyways, thanks for joining me for week 5 of our 12 weeks of Christmas. Friday night is, for those that are registered, is our Cards, Coffee, and Christmas Cheer class. So we've got that all ready to roll, and I'm excited to see you on Friday. For those of you that maybe missed registering, I didn't notice things kind of got turned sideways here. Who missed registering, I do have another class coming up, and I don't have a pamphlet printed for you, but I'll look for a link of this as well. November the 30th. I'm just going to open my calendar. November 30th. And which is a Saturday, I think 3 to 5, and then December 8th, which is a Sunday, in the afternoon. I'm also having Christmas classes at the Fruitful Specialty shop here in Medicine Hat. So for those that have joined before, you know, we do 2 very simple Christmas cards. Well, this time it'll be Christmas cards. And then usually the Fruitful Specialty shop offers a delicious treat from their store, and the cost is just $20. So come on out. I will put in a link for registration. You got to register at the store, so I'll put in a link to all of the information for you. So if you missed my Friday class, there's still opportunity to come and stamp with me this holiday season, or if you just need more cards for your Christmas card giving, there are lots of opportunities still coming up. So thank you for joining me. I will see you again next week here for week 6. Happy stamping.